Hello everybody and welcome to another reaction video, and today I've got something that's quite interesting for me. A little while back, it's a young lady by the name of Zuzi. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. I do apologise if I got it wrong. Zuzi, I think. She contacted me through my Facebook page and asked me if I wouldn't mind reacting to some Hungarian folk metal. Now, I love foreign music, I love interesting music, so, you know, I immediately said, yeah, sure, throw me some suggestions. And she did. She threw me quite a few. And the first suggestion that she sent me was to react to a song called Bards of Wales by a band called Dalriada. I'm hoping that's how you pronounce that name. So, having never heard of them, I had to do a little bit of research. I didn't really find very much, but I did find that Dalriada is a folk metal band from Sopron, Hungary, formed in 1998. So they've been around for quite a long time. Initially, the band went by the name Echoes of Dalriada, but in 2006 shortened it to just simply Dalriada. And that's all I really found out. Now, as I said, the track I'm going to react to is a track called Bards of Wales. As I understand it, it's actually a 10-minute long track, and from what I've gathered from trying to find videos of it, I think it's actually split into 3 parts. But the Bards of Wales is a famous poem written by one of the best Hungarian poets, János Arany. He was an iconic figure in the 19th century in Hungary. He started to write the poem in 1857 and only finished it in 1861, so it took him 4 years to write this poem. But the poem was then not released or published until 1863, so it took 2 years to publish the damn thing. The poet himself was asked to write a glorious poem for Joseph Ferenc, the Austrian-Hungarian Czech monarch. Arany chose this story from English and Welsh history and wanted to compare it to the current situation in Hungary. And because it's kind of a parallel story, apparently. The main idea of the poem is the bards would rather die than glorify the tyrant. So Arany wanted to show a good example to the people to the people of Hungary with this story. So it's very interesting. I do have an English translation for the lyrics as well, because essentially the lyrics to the song are the poem. They've but literally just put the poem to music, as far as I understand. But like I said, this is quite a long track, so I think we'll go straight into it. I'm very intrigued to see where this goes. So, Dalriada, the Bards of Wales. Well, got straight into the track there, didn't it? And it's really very good. Got the male and the female vocals in there, so there's a nice bit of contrast. And the female vocal, she has got an astonishingly good voice. I don't know, there's something about the male vocals that they don't quite seem powerful enough to match up to hers, if that makes any sense. But still, it's very, very good. The music is very, very good. And I'm still quite impressed how they've put the poem in its entirety to music. I mean, I know poems are more or less songs without music, but still, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to read through the entire poem because it is a very long poem. But it opens up here. Edward the King, the English King, bestride his tawny steed, for I will see if Wales, he said, accepts my rule indeed. So it's like, you know, he's like the King of England now. He wants to take over Wales. Our stream and mountain fair to see, our meadow grass is good. Do cornlands bear a crop more rare since washed with rebels' blood? It's interesting how the poem actually rhymes in English as well as Hungarian, unless there's been a little bit of artistic license taken with the translation. And are the wretched people there whose insolence I broke, as happy as the oxen are beneath the driver's yokes? So, you know, are the people of Wales going to be happy under my rule? Are they going to do as they're told? It's interesting. In truth, this Wales, sire, is a gem, the fairest in your crown. The stream and field rich harvest yield, and fair and dale and down. You know, so they're talking about how beautiful Wales is, and you know how the king should be proud to have it as his rule. But whether or not the people of Wales wanted to be ruled by him is a different matter. And all the wretched people there are calm as man could crave. Their hovels stand throughout the land as silent as the grave. So basically he's saying that the king's right-hand man, as it were, is saying, you know, they will bend the knee, they will fall to your rule. So, interesting so far. Let's carry on. It was going on further into that bit there. It was going on about how now the people of Wales, now that this King Edward has taken over, how he's sitting there growing fat off their land. You know, he's using all of their crops for himself. He's drinking all of their wines and beers and stuff that they're making. He's keeping them all for himself. And, you know, the people of Wales are pretty angry with him, so none of them want to like bow to him. None of them, you know, as he goes past in the streets, people are shouting in anger at him. They're insulting him. They're basically saying, you know, telling him to get lost, get out of their country. They don't want him here. So he's now called for a bard to sing his praises, you know, to, well, do what bards generally did. You know, they would write songs about heroes and kings and sing their graces and their amazing things. So he's now called for a bard. It's because the last line of singing there in the translation was, "You rascal lords, you dogs of Wales, will none for Edward cheer? To serve my needs and chant my deeds, then let a bard appear." So he's basically going, okay, if the people of Wales and England won't say how great I am, then I want this bard to write a song to tell me that I am great, to tell the people that I am great. So he's a pretty selfish, self-involved sort of person. I do like the track. It's very, very good. You know, the music is really, really good, and they're really throwing in very different vocal styles all throughout the track. So very, very good. Let's carry on. And just there, this is where the bard comes in and starts singing. From what I heard, it sounded like it transitioned into the second part of the song there. it starts there with the nobles gaze in fierce amaze, their cheeks grow deadly pale, not fear but rage, their looks engage, they blanch but do not quail. So like all the people in the king's court have sort of gone pale at the fact, you know, this bard's come in, and he comes out with, all voices cease in soundless peace, all breathes in silent pain, and when the door a harper, and then at the door a harper whore comes in with grave disdain. Now it said harper whore, it doesn't mean whore as in, you know, person of ill repute. And then he goes on to actually sing his song for the king, which goes, Lo, here I stand at your command to chant your deeds, O king, and weapons clash and hauberks crash, responsive to this string. Harsh weapons clash and hauberks crash, and sunset sees us bleed. The crow and wolf are dead in gulf, this Edward is your deed. 1,000 lie beneath the sky, they rot beneath the sun, and we who live shall not forgive this deed your hand hath done. So he's basically turned around and gone, okay, I'll sing of your deeds, and basically sang a song about how King Edward came in, slaughtered the people just so he could be the king. And he goes on, now let him perish, I must have, the monarch's voice was harsh, your softed songs and not your wrongs, in steps a boyish bard. So the king basically said, right, I want this bard killed, you know, he's basically slandering me, he's slagging me off, telling me all the bad things I've done, I want nice songs. So he said, like, off with his head, and a younger bard has come in. So it's rather hard to keep up with the lyrics, because I've got the Hungarian lyrics and I've got the English lyrics, and I'm trying to keep up with both sides. But it's an interesting story. Let's carry on. shame it just suddenly ended. But anyway, the track itself is absolutely fantastic, and I love the story it's telling. I mean, I know they didn't write the song, the lyrics, but they obviously wrote the music and they put the words to the music. And it's a really interesting story, because after then, you know, we said, in steps the boyish bard. And the moment that the young bard comes in and goes, the breeze is soft at eve, the toft from Milford heaven's roar. If it maiden stifles cries, it breathes of widows' groans. Your maidens bear no captive babes, your mothers rear them not. The fierce king nods, the lad is seized, and he's hurried from the spot. So basically, the second bard came in and basically said, You're rubbish, your wife does not have any children, you know, you're basically worthless, you have no heir. And it goes, unbidden then among the men there comes a dauntless third. His speech of fire, he tunes his lyre, and bitter is his word. Our bravest died to slake your pride, Pound Edward, hear my lays. No Welsh bards live who ever will give your name a song of praise. Our harps with dead men's memories weep, Welsh bards to you will sing, one changeless verse, our blackest curse, to blast your soul, O king. So basically, this third bard has stepped forward and said, look, doesn't matter how many people you bring in to sing songs of praise, none of us will sing songs of glory for you. All we're going to do is repeat and repeat all the horrible things you've done to destroy our land, to destroy our way of life. And the king turns around and says, no more, enough, cries out the king, in rage his orders break. Seek through the vales in old bards of Wales and burn them at the stake. So he wants every single bard, every single one that's in Wales, to be captured and burned, so nobody will sing of his misdeeds. His men ride forth, south and north, they ride to west and east. Thus ends in grim Montgomery the celebrated feast. Edward the king, the English king, spurs on his tawny steed. Across the skies red flames arise, as if Wales burned indeed. So, he's captured all of these bards, he's burning them all at the stake, and the skies are glowing red with fire. But yeah, it's basically like these... It applies in so many ways to modern life. It's like all these world leaders who think they are doing, well, they don't even think they're doing good for the world. They're doing what they want for themselves. They're all selfish people, and they expect people to like gather around them and sing them praises and go, oh my god, you are so great, when in fact they're just being selfish. They don't care about the people. All they care about is themselves and their friends. They want to make themselves and their friends richer. The poor people, who gives a toss about them? They're just the poor people. They're just like, ugh. They want to be rich, and that's all that they're doing. And these people are basically standing around saying, you can have all your money, you can have your big castle, but nobody likes you. Nobody is going to bow to you. No one is going to bend the knee to you. No one is going to respect you, because you are a vile person. So it's a very, very good song, and I really love the way it's done. I will definitely have to hear some more of their stuff, because you don't really hear very much about music. Well, not necessarily music from Hungary, but you don't hear Hungarian metal very often. You don't hear that, well, you might hear it, but you don't hear the phrase very often. It's always Norwegian or Danish or Swedish, the sort of Scandinavian countries, or you occasionally hear stuff from France, you hear a lot of metal from America, but you very rarely hear anything coming from Hungary. And it's very, very interesting. And it's very, very good. I very much enjoyed it. And thank you, Zuzi, I do hope I'm pronouncing your name right, for recommending that to me. I do have a bunch of other Dalriada tracks to listen to, so I shall be interested to see what happens there. I think the end of that song may have been cut off, which was a bit unfortunate, but from what I can tell, there really wasn't very much of it left to listen to anyway. But yes, a very, very good song, very good poem as well, very good story, very interesting. So, yes, I'll leave that one as it is. If anybody else would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. Drop a comment in the comment section below, or you can message me on my Facebook or my Instagram. The links for those are in the description below. But do know that if you suggest a track, it might take me a while to get to it, because I do get suggested dozens of tracks every single day, and my list is growing faster than I can record them. But I do write down every suggestion I get, and it will be recorded at some point. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. They are a British-based charity who are dedicated to putting an end to hate crimes. Whether you're into alternative music, if you dress in alternative fashion, whatever lifestyle you lead, whether you identify as a different gender, if you've got a different sexual preference, if you're disabled, if you're perfectly able, if you're a different religion, if you're a different race, it doesn't matter. Everybody has the right to live on this planet, and nobody has the right to judge you for living your life the way that you want to live. As long as the way you're living is within the confines of the law, as long as nothing you're doing is illegal, you can do whatever the hell you want. You know, no one has the right to attack or judge you just because they don't like the way that you live your life. And it has to stop. You know, all too often people get attacked over the stupidest, most meaningless little things. You know, I got beaten up all throughout school because I liked heavy metal music. That was it. That was the only reason. You know, you like heavy metal music. I don't like heavy metal music, so I have the right to beat you up. It doesn't work. There's no logic there. There's no excuse. There is no reason behind it. It's just because I was different. They thought it was perfectly acceptable to beat the living hell out of me. And, you know, this sort of thing has to stop, because there's no need for it. There's no reason for it. It doesn't make you big. It doesn't make you clever. And this is the sort of thing that Sophie Lancaster Foundation wants to put an end to, because, you know, for too long, subcultures getting bullied, threatened and attacked was just a given. And it shouldn't be. You know, there's racism, there's homophobia, it still happens, but there are now things in place to stop that from happening. You know, they have rights as much as anybody does. And now, you know, people of alternative culture, they're getting attacked, and now it's being seen as a hate crime to physically attack somebody of alternative subculture. And this is another thing that annoys me, is because, like, all throughout school, because I listened to heavy metal, because I wore, when I wasn't actually in school, I wore black, I had like band t-shirts and stuff like that, I got beaten up for all of this because I was wearing metal band shirts. But now it seems cool for these non-alternative people to be wearing metal shirts. You know, you see these people walking around with Motorhead shirts on, you see them walking around with Nirvana shirts on, you see them walking around with bloody all sorts. You know, you see Justin Bieber in bloody Metallica shirt, you see whoever it was recently wearing the Cradle of Filth Jesus' shirt. These people don't actually listen to this music, it's just fashionable. However, it's okay for them to wear it, but when I was wearing it, I was getting 10 bales kicked out of me. So, you know, it's a bit of a double standard. Anyway, but my point is, you know, they're a good charity, they're a very worthwhile charity, because it's something that I've been through, a lot of my friends have been through, and I think it's the sort of charity that gets overlooked a lot. You know, because most charities people concentrate on are things like curing cancer, or you know, saving dogs, cats and animals, which are all very, very worthwhile causes. But things like the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, you know, where you're trying to change laws and stuff like that, I think they get a bit more overlooked because people don't think about that as much. But I think it's very worthwhile. I think it's something that needs to be done. So if you want to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. If you can pop over there, you know, find out what they're about, find out what they're doing at the moment, maybe even throw them a little bit of support, that's fantastic. But this is possibly the longest video I've actually made to date. It's actually over 30 minutes. So I'm going to leave that as it is. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Visualize me,